So the first thing we have here is Rod in Ontario, Canada asked, why are we using a TL1000 as a donor bike? Now, we discovered we could probably also use Hayabusa, GSXR 1000, maybe the 750, but I don't think there's enough power there. SV 1000 and all the TL1000s, because they're very similar in the setup of the, depending on the year, in the head, where the steering is, and also the size, the weight. But why we chose the TL1000, there's a few reasons here. It is a little bit heavy at 500 pounds. It's an older bike. However, it's got bone stock 135 horsepower, which is hard to beat. When we look at dollars per horsepower. Now, of course, we could go out and buy a brand new Hayabusa. I don't even know how much they are, $10,000 plus, I'm sure. Shoot, they're probably 15,000 bucks out the door by now. You could get a beautiful TL1000, maybe 20,000 miles on it. It's going to be a few years older, but around the $3,000 range. The TL1000 stock, now this is not in the cabin bike, but the stock bike, and again I'm answering the question, why did we choose the TL1000? It does a a little bit over 3 seconds, 0 to 60 stock, which is very, very fast. Remember, it's a factory super bike that was made by Suzuki and homologated just for racing. Is perfect from the factory with 135 horsepower. Again, the 0 to 60 just a little bit over 3 seconds from the factory at 500 pounds. Quarter mile, just a little bit over 10 seconds, which is very, very fast. If you know what it takes to do a 10-second quarter mile, that is very, very fast. And top speed around 165 miles an hour, 163, 165 miles an hour. Now, I have ridden a TL1000 at El Mirage on the dry lake bed in the dirt. Easy to go 150 miles an hour and just hold it all day long. So I hope I'm answering the question of why a TL1000. They're cheap. They made over 100,000 of them. There's still a lot of them out there. It is very similar to the Hayabusa GSXR 1000, SV 1000, so those bikes may also be used. The TL1000 is very powerful, and then the other thing is the torque. 78 foot-pounds of torque. It is among the highest rated bikes that I could find as far as the torque. Now, since we're going to be adding a lot of weight to the chassis, I felt it was important to have as much torque as we could. It also turns out that it's well over 100 horsepower, which worked fine for us. Remember, our target weight for the cabin bike should be about 900 pounds. We're going to have to try very hard to keep it light as we go. As you build your cabin bike, it's got to be about 900 pounds. Otherwise, we're going to have to start playing with the suspension on the TL1000. The TL1000 suspension is rated 900 pounds from the factory. I figure we could fudge that by probably even a couple hundred pounds. The tires easily handle that weight, but we have to be careful about adding too much weight for fancy stuff that's really not required. We're going to try and keep the body light. We're going to try and keep the interior light. And then accessories, we're going to try and keep them to a minimum. And so I hope that answers your question, and thank you very much, Rod from Ontario.